Welcome, everybody, to the first episode of Learning to Fly podcast. This is a podcast that we've been wanting to do for quite some time. A lot of you are probably wondering, why are we doing a podcast and what is it about? And that's a great question. This is not a construction podcast. This is more of a personal development podcast, business, life. We're going to have a lot of fun on this podcast. We're going to have a lot of cool guests, most of which you probably won't know who they are because we're not celebrities. But they mean a lot to me, and I'm sure they'll mean a lot to you too after you hear their stories. Just some really, really cool people that have crossed my path and other people's paths and lives, and I think it's definitely worth sharing and documenting. So we'll have a lot of that. We'll have a lot of questions, Q&A. We'll have an email address where you guys can send us some feedback, some topics, things you want to hear about, stuff like that. I happen to be in the construction industry. We own Basham Construction, do a lot of construction remodeling work around central Indiana. We will talk about that quite a bit, but not the whole thing. There'll probably be 40% of this will be construction topics, and the rest will be other things. So you're probably wondering how this thing did get birthed, and it is a story worth sharing. Jeff, the guy that ironically, you might see him here in a minute, ironically is doing this podcast for us. He does all of Basham Construction's video content and documenting stuff for us. He's been doing it quite a while, does a heck of a job. If your guys' businesses need that, I would strongly encourage you to look up Campfire Video Solutions. And I'd book quick because he fills up quick too. But great people, and happened to be on a big job we're doing in Plainfield, and I was in a hurry doing something, checking on something, and Jeff's out there. I thought he was going to get the drone out, and I said, "Hey, what are you doing?" And he goes, he's just kind of walking around it. He's like, "Well, I locked my keys in my car." I said, "Well, what'd you do that for?" He's like, "Well, I didn't do it on purpose." And we kind of laughed about it. I said, "Well, what are you going to do about it?" He's like, "Well, I tried calling the wife. I think I'm just going to get an Uber." And I said, "Man, that's something I'd do." I said, "Hop in the truck. Let's go get your other spare set of keys." He's like, "No, you're busy." I'm like, "Get in the truck." So we get in the truck, and the downside with riding with me is you're going to hear about everything. And I was on a rant, which I normally am, which is probably why we're doing this podcast. And Jeff looks at me and he's like, "Have you ever thought about doing a podcast?" I said, "I've thought about it quite a bit, but I don't know how to do it." He's like, "Well, I do." And here we are. So I wish you could see my view because Jeff puts a ton of work into this. There's wires everywhere, cameras. I think he asked me to put on some concealer. I don't know I don't know. I said no.
You don't need it.
I might. So yeah, that's how kind of funny story how this thing actually got birthed, and so now here we are. I'll make this intro kind of quick, but like I said, we'll have a better format moving forward. Talking about business, life, fun, all of the things that people want to talk about. We will not curse on here. We will not talk politics, religion, and her. I think that's a country song. We'll not do that. So anything else is free game. So yeah, like I said, we're planning on doing this every probably 2 weeks. I don't know. We'll see. See how you all like it because this is really for you guys. We'd love your feedback, but we'll post as many as you guys will listen to. Other than that, like I said, it's Learning to Fly. Oh, the name. Why is it called Learning to Fly? That's a great question. The son and I, Bo Ryan, we were out on a Saturday picking up some trash at a construction site. I said, "We're going to start this podcast. What should we call it?" Ironically, Tom Petty's Learning to Fly was in the background. He's like, "We should call it Learning to Fly." I said, "Man, that's a great topic." So don't take the title to the podcast wrong. This is not an aviation podcast, so you pilots out there don't get any good ideas because we have no idea how to fly a plane. So, but what I do like about that, Learning to Fly, is I'm very I think a lot And I know you can't, you got to crawl before you walk, you got to walk before you run, and you got to run before you take off and fly. So as us business owners, there's a lot of us that are like-minded and we stick together. We're running hard, to grow our businesses to where we're running so hard, I feel like we're about ready to take flight. And so it really did resonate hard with me. So hard that I did reach out to the copyright people of the song Learning to Fly. I'd love to have it on this podcast. But we need a lot of followers and a lot of listeners so we can afford that royalty fee. I'm not going to tell you how much it is, but it's quite a bit. So if you ever hear that song, you'll know that we made it. So that's probably our carrot that we're searching for. But Jeff, you're back there laughing. You got anything you want to add to this intro? Anything we can expect?
No, I'm just excited to hear who you get to interview and kind of hear your perspectives on construction and life in general. I think it's going to be pretty cool. So.
Yeah, well, we're excited to work with you exclusively. Like I said, this is, we stick together and we support and root for one another, and that's something we'll talk about too, just showing gratitude and things like that. So thanks for listening. I'm sure we missed a few things, but we'll catch them on the next podcast. So like I said, Learning to Fly, coming at you soon, and we appreciate your all's support and any constructive, critical feedback. We welcome it with open arms. So y'all have a great day and stay safe out there.